Today, I join the people who have had enough in saying that whatever it takes should be done to stop this evil and darkness that's been going on for far too long. Children of this nation, Uganda, are being kidnapped, abducted, stolen, tortured, killed by predators who could be walking right into your home. How many more times must this happen? How many more children must be sacrificed? What are we willing to sacrifice as a society and to put up with before we can get up and say this is enough? Brenda Lubowa is a daughter to a top city businessman, Godfrey Chirumira. Brenda lived to see hell break loose in her own home when her child was kidnapped to be used for ransom to get money from its parents. Brenda tells her story next. Keeping tabs on the whereabouts of young children in the home has become more challenging as more and more mothers turn over the care of their toddlers into the hands of housemaids to supplement family income or follow a career. The maids may come with glowing credentials, more often none at all. You have trusted your child to someone else. Is your child safe? Hello Brenda, how are you?
I'm okay, how are you?
It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Yes, tell me about the kidnap of your son. What exactly happened?
It was one day when I had a function. One of my closest friends, she's called Mary. She was getting married. I asked my husband if I could sleep over my friend's place and, you know, take care of a few things with her. Then the next day, you know how you wake up, you're lazy, you're going for a function and stuff like that. You know, it's a natural feeling when you have a child, yeah? So my friend kept on saying, you're not jolly. I was like, maybe because I forgot to pray in the morning today. I'm just not myself. So we took some pictures. Then my sister-in-law, Joanne, and my sister, Gloria. So they come. Each one of them were looking at each other like, start. They were all scared, start. So I was like, what's the time? They're like, 4. I'm like, Patrick was meant to come here. That's my husband. Is there anything wrong with Patrick? They're like, no, nothing. Let me call him. Maybe something is wrong with Patrick. They're like, no, nothing. Anyway, they've just called us because my house girl was called Soso. They've just called us and they've told us that Soso has kidnapped Caden. So I'm like, how is that? So they're like, Patrick went there to get dressed. So he got home and Caden wasn't there. That's my son. So he asked that old lady, where is Caden? The old lady was like, Caden has gone with a house girl to buy airtime. So he's like, since when did she start taking Caden out without anyone's permission from the mom or from me? So he drove out like from Kansang up to like Kabalagala, around Kabalagala. Then he gets a phone call from that old lady who used to stay home that someone called me telling me to check under the microwave. There's a letter that was put there. So I got it out only to read. Soso had left a letter, that's the house girl, saying that, is it from Rwanda to come here in Uganda to study? And then I got a boyfriend who stole my school fees, something like that. And then I vowed to revenge against a Ugandan. I have taken your son and I want 200 million shillings. And if you don't give me that money, I will do something to your son, or I will even kill him. And I'm serious. I'll let you know how you can get that money to me. I'm telling you, this, if you know a good hypocrite in your life, this is a maid who was punctual, very nice, clean. She was very friendly to my son. She would teach my son how to, study, read, what. So she was very nice. I didn't suspect anything. Like, no, I even panicked. I even got my phone. I called her immediately because I had her phone number. So what she did, she picked and gave the phone to my son. I think she beat up my son just to make my son scare me. He was crying, Mommy, Soso has taken me. I'm lost. I don't know where I am. I don't know. Oh, then I freaked out. I'm like, let me speak to her. Then she hung up.
How old was the little boy? He could speak by then?
Yes, he could speak, like 4. He was, he started daycare earlier on, so he could, express himself somehow.
When your child goes missing, your whole world turns upside down as you imagine all sorts of evil out there which could befall him. Brenda went through the agony of her child being held ransom by kidnappers. With a knife hanging over her child's head, she struggled to think straight as the advice came pouring in from numerous well-wishers. Her phone became her lifeline as she desperately sought news from her child's kidnappers and from the police.
I was confused. That time I could not even trust anyone. I even, kept on saying maybe it's, any of my relatives or something who is planning this.
Maybe it has,
yes, because it was a big sum of money for a house girl to ask for. Don't know, I was like, oh God, and that was the time, that was a bad timing. A week before my son was kidnapped, that was the time Kakama was killed. I don't know if you remember that story of that boy, baby boy who was kidnapped and then killed, and then the parents had given in the money. I was just traumatized. I was even walking, I don't even know where I went. I was just walking, confused, in confusion, crying and walking, saying, okay, let me just walk on the streets. Maybe I might go home and, stay there, and then my son is all over the streets, maybe around. So I kept on moving around Bugolovi, just walking. I got on a borders, just in a confusion. Okay, immediately I was broken down when they told me the news that my son was kidnapped. I go to Watoto Church and I have a cell group. So I called my cell group members. I called them. I told them, please pray for me. My son has been kidnapped. They're like, what? And they knew him.
You called anything that could be a support system at that time.
So I called them. I told them, just pray for me. I even don't know. Just pray for me. Anyway, we waited because the police were doing their work. But of course, my dad and my husband almost spent a night at the police station because they were still tracking my son here and there. I did not have any identity of hers. So they had to drive to the border of Rwanda with my son's pictures, but still at the border of Rwanda, they were like, we needed the picture for the house girl, but we would try and see if we could see them come. So they tried to track. They kept on saying they were around Machi, India. Police did a very good job, though. It was good. They also did a very good job. So the day passed by till morning. My son was nowhere.
Did you have any sleep?
I did sleep the whole night. It was raining. I remember that night I just sat on the bed, just thinking about what's happening. Any phone call that would come, I would think they're just telling me, maybe we found your son and killed or something like that. We just found, we picked him. I was just traumatized. I could not have any sleep. Because for just those days that my son was kidnapped, I lost a lot of weight. I was through trauma. I didn't trust anyone. I could not talk to anyone. I didn't want to see any of my close friends that were close to my son. In your mind, you know what happens to you when your son has been kidnapped? In your mind, you even get to the extent of burying your own son before you even get to him. You even start figuring out people are at home, now the coffin is there. You bury your son in there and then in the thoughts. Now what happens to those who have really lost them? I can imagine what they passed through, because me, I almost had a slow death. I was not feeding. I was vomiting. I was having a running stomach. I was just traumatized. I didn't see it happening. I didn't see myself seeing my own son come back. Because even the police, after getting my son back, they were like, you're very lucky. And these are not the kind of people who are going to bring back your son alive. They told me that because they were like, you were very aggressive. The uncle of the girl looked like a witch doctor. They didn't look like they were going to bring back your son alive. Actually, from that day, I said, I need to have my God with me. Every time, every moment. That's why I came up with this gospel music, and so I came up with this thing, maybe just to reach out to the. It's not actually a job or something, but it's something I'm doing out of love for my God.
You have a certain meeting point.
Yes.
With what you're doing.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Brenda, for talking to us. Keep inspiring us through your music, and thank you for being on the show. We value this so much. We had to take you back to a part of your life that you're not very proud of.
I know.
But thank you for
I was scared already, but anyway. It's okay.
All right, stay well.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The stories we've seen today on the show represent thousands of children whose bodies have been abused, emotions speared, rights infringed upon by child abuse, abduction, and sacrifice. It is true that when you don't know the purpose of something, you do abuse it. It is important that we all note that the purpose of children is monumental in society and in our families, so children's lives and rights should be respected and protected. That was it for today on the show. Thank you for having been a part of this show. I was Justine, your host, Till next time, take care.